A very good evening. You're watching the Eswatini TV News Bulletin at 8, read to you by Notile Sitole along Zamanzi Manze. First, let's have a look at the headlines. The Incwala ceremony has officially started. His Majesty's government has announced that the late Prime Minister Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini will be afforded a state funeral. African leaders have started sending condolences to their Majesties and the country on the passing away of the country's Prime Minister. And now, the news in detail. The Incwala ceremony has officially started. Regiments from Eswatini royal residence marched to Eswatini to join other regiments and the nation in dancing the Little Incwala with their Majesties.
The stage is officially set for the Incwala ceremony, which will be held under strict COVID-19 safety protocols. Following His Majesty the King's invitation to the nation to participate in the ceremony, the sacred ceremony has indeed started. The regiments from Eswatini royal residence marched to join other regiments from all regions of the kingdom at Eswatini royal residence. It was like an endless rope as the regiments marched on, donning face masks and maintaining physical distancing. This development marks the start of the Little Incwala. Regiments will join His Majesty the King, Her Majesty Ndlovukazi and the nation in the dancing of the sacred ceremony. Those who will be joining their Majesties in the ceremony are expected to unconditionally follow all COVID-19 safety precautions. On the news, I'm Sandila Makanya reporting with Zolo Masugu.
The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku has announced that the late Prime Minister of Eswatini, Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini, will be given a state funeral. Masuku made this announcement in a press briefing in Cabinet offices on Monday.
Following the demise of the Prime Minister of Eswatini, Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini, on Sunday, the 13th of December 2020, the Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku has passed his condolences to their Majesties, relatives and friends of the Prime Minister on his passing on. The Deputy Prime Minister described the Prime Minister as having such a beautiful life story which ended just as the story had begun. The DPM further described the Prime Minister as a professional of note who had left a footprint in the banking and telecommunications sectors where he worked before his appointment as Premier in 2018. Masuku then announced that the Prime Minister will be given a state funeral.
He was someone special to each and every one of us in one way or another. It is therefore against this background that His Majesty King Mswati III has commanded government to prepare a state funeral for the late Prime Minister, His Excellency, the Right Honorable Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini, in accordance with Finance Circular number 2 of 2013. Accordingly, Cabinet has appointed a subcommittee to make the necessary arrangements and logistics for the funeral to be held at a date to be announced. The committee is chaired by the Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade, Senator Manqoba Khumalo. The members of this committee are Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Honorable Polile Shakantu, Minister for Tourism and Environment, Honorable Moses Vilagati, Reverend Nicholas Nyao, Dr. Phil Mnisi, Pastor Sbusiso Nhlego, and the Prime Minister's Office Principal Secretary Lindiwe Mbingo, who will be the Secretary.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Prime Minister described the late Prime Minister as being an outstanding individual who touched people's lives in a very positive way. The Deputy Prime Minister promised that the late Prime Minister's body will be repatriated back home from South Africa before the end of business on Monday. Members of the public will be notified of the Prime Minister's funeral date in due course, while those who would like to send their condolences can do this by email to condolences@hrpm@gov.sz. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Mbongwa Dube in Babane.
African leaders have already started expressing their condolences to their majesties and the Swazi nation on the passing away of His Excellency the Prime Minister Mandvulo Dlamini, who passed away on the 13th of December in South Africa in a hospital in the Republic of South Africa. The African leaders include South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta. The president actually described him as a devoted leader.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has, on behalf of the government and people of South Africa, expressed his deep condolences to the government and people of the Kingdom of Eswatini at the passing of Eswatini Prime Minister Honorable Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini. Prime Minister Dlamini passed away on Sunday, 13 December 2020, at the age of 52 during treatment of COVID-19 in a South African hospital. President Ramaphosa offers his sincere condolences to the family and friends of the late Prime Minister, the Swazi royal family, the government of the kingdom, and the nation at large. The president said today all South Africans and the compatriots across the continent bow their heads in sadness at the passing of the leader who took pride in leading and representing his nation. His untimely passing is also a tragic reminder of the indiscriminate harm that is in our midst in the form of COVID-19. On another note, Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has also expressed his sincere condolences to the government, the royal family, and friends of the late Prime Minister Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini. President Kenyatta says the late Prime Minister was an industrious and devoted leader who was committed to improving the well-being of his fellow countrymen. It is unfortunate that the African continent has lost such a great leader at a time like this. President Kenyatta assured His Majesty and the people of Eswatini that Kenya stands with them at this difficult period of mourning. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Soto Dlamini in Babane.
The country's financial cooperatives play a tremendous role in developing the economy as well as creating job opportunities countrywide. This was confirmed by Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mancoba Khumalo, when welcoming a delegation of members of financial cooperatives from South Africa. The event was held at the Jot Hotel in Manzini.
Cooperatives delegation from the Republic of South Africa came into the country last weekend with the aim of sharing ideas and to learn from Eswatini counterparts on how and what the country has done to achieve these remarkable strides regarding financial cooperatives growth. Welcoming the South African delegation into the country in an event held at the Jot Hotel in Manzini, Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade Mancoba Khumalo says knowledge transfer is key in developing the business sector in the SADC region, which will in turn develop the economy of the Southern African region.
The Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade has a mandate for the development and building of a united and sustainable cooperative movement through legislation, training, finance, and non-financial support. May I also take this opportunity to thank DGRV for assisting in the development of cooperatives in Eswatini.
Leading the financial cooperatives from the Republic of South Africa, Sibusiso Kumede has commended the kingdom for working hard in ensuring that the business sector through financial cooperatives extremely develop for the benefit of the SADC region. The Commissioner for Financial Cooperatives in the country, Inonhlanhla Mnisi, says the achievement they have got as financial cooperatives in the country is through working hard and tirelessly to ensure that the country's vision of attaining first world status by 2022 is achieved.
Membership, Eswatini has got a total membership of 73,000 166. So approaching 100,000 cooperators in the population of 1.2 million.
The country already has 700 financial cooperatives and assets achieved are worth 3 billion emalangeni. The meeting is expected to last for 2 days. For Eswatini TV News, Zodwa Adlameni with Giani Msibi in Manzini.
The Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, who was represented by the SME Director in the Ministry, Meluleki Dlamini, has encouraged young people to commit themselves to fully develop savings and credit cooperatives, as these formations play a crucial role in the kingdom's economic development. The Minister was speaking when officially opening the first ever youth cooperatives indaba.
The main aim of the first ever youth cooperatives indaba, which was held at the Royal Swaziland Convention Center, was to educate young people on the best operational and professional practice for cooperatives in the country. In Eswatini, indicators show that most youth-run savings and credit cooperatives tend not to be sustainable due to a combination of factors and challenges. Speaking at the Youth Indaba, SME Director in the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Meluleki Dlamini, who represented Minister Mangoba Khumalo, encouraged young people to engage themselves in uplifting this movement.
The program seems to demonstrate the youth on how possible it will be to create employment through cooperatives and foster economic growth using skills that they have, while tapping into the possibilities availed by technology around them to increase productivity, trade, and eventually build wealth for the youth and the country at large. I am truly pleased to mention that the Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade encourages youth involvement in cooperatives in order to ensure that the sustainability of the business model is the one that continues and see more strides.
Under Secretary in the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs, Nhlanhla Mota, urged young people to embrace and implement what they learned in this meeting when they go back to their cooperatives.
I would like to say that may you please commit yourself to this gathering, participate fully, so that this event will have a great impact in improving the lives of the youth.
The Youth Indaba was attended by executive committee representatives of 23 youth-operated savings and credit cooperatives affiliated to the Eswatini National Youth Cooperatives Alliance. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Mbongwa Dube at Ezulwini.
The chairperson, Parliamentary Service Board, Parliament and staff of the Parliamentary Service is deeply saddened by the passing of His Excellency, the Right Honourable Prime Minister and Minister responsible for Parliamentary Affairs, Honourable Mandvulo Dlamini. In a statement issued by the chairperson of the Parliamentary Service Board, Speaker Petros Mavimbela, they extend their heartfelt condolences to Their Majesties, the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini and all eMaswati. May God Almighty comfort his family, friends and loved ones during this sad period. The Federation of Eswatini Business Community has described the late Prime Minister Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini as a very respectful person. This was said by the Federation's President, Tams DuPont, during an interview with Eswatini TV.
The Prime Minister Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini died on Sunday afternoon in one of the South African health facilities where he was admitted. The Federation of Eswatini Business Community, FESBIC, is among other organizations that have since passed condolences to eMaswati and his family.
He was one Prime Minister that respected, sometimes over-respected, because some of us were older than him, and it referred to us as Bobab. In a nutshell, we have lost somebody that was dedicated, was willing to discuss with business even their plans, the strategies on how to go forward, even including this COVID-19 virus. He always consulted and asked us to contribute how we see working with business. as much as business felt that it was more pressure on them because most of businesses closed, but nonetheless he was a willing person to see which ways would sort of slow down the spread of the virus, as much as we didn't know where and how it comes in. And we used to contribute, and I must say he was somebody that always listened and respected.
The announcement on the passing away of the Prime Minister was made by Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku on Sunday night after being instructed by their Majesties. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Stwawotvo.
MTN CEO Wandile Mjali says as a company, they are shattered on the learning of the news of the passing of the Prime Minister Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini. Mjali says the Prime Minister was an honorable man who worked with determination.
The Deputy Prime Minister released a press statement on Sunday evening announcing the death of the Prime Minister Ambrose Dlamini, who died while receiving treatment at a hospital in South Africa. The Prime Minister has worked for various companies in the banking and the corporate sector before being appointed as the Premier. His former colleague Wandile Mjali, who is MTN Eswatini CEO, says the Prime Minister was an honorable man who worked with determination. Mjali has passed his condolences to his family and government for the sad loss.
We as MTN, I think, are still going to try and issue a tribute to His Excellency. But I think certainly because we are here, we just want to express our condolences on the passing. We've had the privilege and honor of working with His Excellency for almost 8 years at MTN. And I think I've also known him personally outside the office as well. A really very humble man, an excellent leader, and as well a man that was fearing God. He really, at any time when you're interacting with him, God was his pillar, and so it is really very sad for us to find ourselves in the situation where he is no more. But we continue to pray that God will give us the strength, and so that we can be able to receive this and also be able to learn from what he has shared with us all. And I think some of us that have been closer to him.
In the statement released by the Deputy Prime Minister, it further communicates that government, in collaboration with his family, will keep the nation informed of subsequent arrangements. Reporting, I'm Lungilele Makakula with Muzim Konda, Zulwini.
Founder of the anti-venom organization, Thea Litka, says 2 people have died due to snake bites that occurred over the past weekend, and these include a toddler less than 2 years. She says this now makes a total of 4 deaths caused by snake bites. Sensitive viewers are warned of the following images.
There are 20 victims of snake bite who are under medical care of the Anti-Venom Foundation. It is suspected that they were bitten by black mambas and cobras. The founder of the organization, Thea Litka, says reports they are receiving reveal that in most instances, the snake is defending itself from its attacker. She says their hospitals are filling up and they are receiving numerous snake bite victims every day, and currently in one facility, they have 14 victims, and the other facilities, there are 6 victims.
The one was a small toddler under the age of 2 who was playing outside when she was bitten by a highly venomous neurotoxic snake. We suspect it's a black mamba in this instance. They tried their best as the family. They immediately contacted the medical facility and they tried to get there, but they were living in a very remote area. And with such a small little baby and such a big snake, the symptoms present very quickly. So although they tried their best to get to the medical facility and they were continuously in contact with the clinicians, the baby didn't make it.
A report by the Health Action International states that approximately 500,000 people who are victims of snake bites become disabled or disfigured, while those who die are approximately 140,000. Reporting, I'm Lungilele Makakula with Muzim Konda in Malkans.
In an effort to support the government's initiative of taking care of underprivileged children in the country, Limpopo University of Creative Technology has revamped a children's vegetable garden for Selula Sandla Children's Home and also donated food parcels worth 20,000 emalangeni. The event was held at Selula Sandla Children's Home at Eswatini in Babane.
The government of the kingdom plays a major role in ensuring that children's welfare is well taken care of in order for them to have a brighter future. Limpopo University has also taken the initiative of supporting the underprivileged children in the country, as they have already done numerous donations to various organizations countrywide. Selula Sandla is one of the children's homes that has benefited from Limpopo University, as they have been donated with food hampers for Christmas, and their vegetable garden has also been revamped. Limpopo University Director Fobile Gumete says carrying through actions is one of the university's goals. Therefore, through this donation, they hope to make the children's Christmas celebration very exciting and also make a long-term difference to their food budget through the vegetable garden.
Through this donation, we believe that we will make the children's Christmas celebration a very exciting time, and we also are contributing to making a long-term difference to your food budget through the vegetable garden that we hope you will continue to maintain, to ensure there is a constant supply of fresh home-grown vegetables for your kitchen.
Banele Shonga, who spoke on behalf of the Children's Orphanage, says it is gratifying to see organizations such as Limpopo University caring for the underprivileged children in the home.
Ngabonga lelithuba elimkokhweni lesinikete lona le donation lengaka. Even though i-COVID-19 isicinzetele thina la kuleli khaya leli lomnyaka kube lomusa lomkhulu kakhulu uNkulunkulu usivetele inhlanhla. In addition, ngalokho lokunto Limpopo University Nkosi yami ukuthi angagcini phinze kunawo.
The university further stated that through the Heal the World Foundation, the founder has created a culture of compassion and social awareness within the university community. For Eswatini TV News, Zodwa Andlameni with Musum Konda in Babane.
Most youth-based savings and credit cooperatives in Eswatini are focused on agricultural projects, a situation that calls for increased improvement of young people's skills on agricultural production. This was said by the Secretary General of the Eswatini National Youth Cooperative Alliance, Sibusiso Vilagati.
There are about 50 youth-operated savings and credit cooperatives in Eswatini, while those which are under the Eswatini National Youth Cooperatives Alliance, SNICA mother body, are 23. SNICA Secretary General Sibusiso Vilagazi says most of these youth cooperatives are showing immense interest in agriculture as opposed to the savings and credit aspects.
Sibene bantu lokufuna bete batokhona kusinika lwati loluphakeme kuthi kusesende lenzuzo yethu ekulimeni ibe ngilephakeme singena kanjani.
Vilagazi says the increased interest in agricultural activities that is being shown by young people in the cooperatives movement propelled SNICA as a mother body to invite different sponsors, agricultural experts and stakeholders to the youth indaba to teach young people on how to best improve their trade. Vilagazi says youth-owned cooperatives want to be as competitive as the big players in agriculture in Eswatini. Commissioner of Cooperatives in the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Nonhlanhla Mnisi, described young people's inputs as being key to the development of the sector.
We have a hope for a future of cooperatives because of your present involvement in cooperatives. We are very proud for the fact that you have accepted and embraced the message of cooperatives, of the cooperative business model.
The youth indaba was sponsored by DGRV, a German cooperative mother body. DGRV Regional Director Via Jason Hess says when well managed, cooperatives have potential to make great economic development. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu Mbongwa Dube at Ezulwini.
Police has launched an investigation of inquiry following the death of a man who died while police were still questioning him regarding the stealing of sugar in one of the companies he was working for at Simunye. Police spokesperson Pindile Vilagati says the suspect died while he was leading police to where he had allegedly hidden the sugar.
The family of Mandla Mazia, who is 40 years old, who was allegedly died in the hands of Simunye police officers, who answers from the cops regarding the mysterious death of Mandla. Maphefu Mazia, a brother to Mandla, says his brother died on Friday when police were still questioning him regarding sugar that went missing in one of the lorries in Tabankulu, Simunye. Maphefu says his brother, who was working as a security guard, was a suspect in the matter as police kept him for the better part of Friday until the family was informed that his demise at around 5 p.m. that day.
Abakakazi kahle ke basho ukuthi batasishayela siye khona lemthethweni siyokulwanyana siyokubha lokuthi ushonile nje ushone njani.
Police spokesperson Superintendent Pindile Vilagati confirmed the death. Vilagati elaborates more on the investigation that is underway regarding the death.
We then investigated 2 men who were in the vicinity during this incident, and unfortunately, it led to one of them who was willing to assist us in the investigation. And when we took him to the scene of wherever this sugar was placed, it happened that during the journey, he started some complications whereby he complained of a chest pain and he was swearing. So we had to stop along the way to attend to the situation. Unfortunately, when we stopped to attend to the situation, he then fell and he was in coma. When we rushed him to the hospital, he was confirmed dead. So we have instituted an investigation to ascertain what really caused the death. If it comes back to us or our operation, a necessary action will be taken.
Mandla Mazia was certified dead upon arrival at Good Shepherd Hospital. This follows the trial at Mlaula police post. When leading police to where he had kept the sugar, he complained of chest pains and he was rushed to hospital. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla Mbabane.
Welcome back, viewers. Now we'll have a look at our sports news. The Eswatini Football Association and the football family in Eswatini has mourned the passing away of Prime Minister Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini. In a statement issued by the association, it is in a loss of words to express itself on learning of the greatest shock of the infelicitous passing on of the Right Honourable Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini, His Excellency Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini. At this instant, EFA hereby extends its deepest and heartfelt condolences to their Majesties, the family, cabinet and government of the Kingdom of Eswatini, both houses of parliament, relatives, friends, affected establishments and the populace in general for this untimely demise. The association says his demise had robbed the nation of his stewardship and the visionary works which their Majesties had bestowed upon him to upscale the economy and the overall livelihood of the country. As a person who had football at heart, the EFA says they were very much honored to have shared the same football spirit with His Excellency for many years, especially during the time when he was still the Chief Executive Officer of Eswatini MTN, and later as the head of His Majesty's government, where he played a decisive role in the return of football business after the impulsive hiatus brought about by the COVID-19 health threat. The association quoted from the Holy Book, Psalms 46 verse 1, which says, "God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble." During this dark moment in our beloved country, they believe that the Lord God Almighty will comfort, guide and protect the nation. The EFA says at this instant, in joining the rest, hereby expresses her symbol of solidarity and wishes for the Lord Almighty to comfort their majesties and all affected families, societies and establishments during this tragic and emotionally draining moment. For now, we'll have a look at our top stories. The Incwala ceremony has officially started. His Majesty's government has announced that the late Prime Minister Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini will be afforded a state funeral. African leaders have started sending condolences to their Majesties and the country on the passing away of the country's Prime Minister. That sums up the end of our bulletin. Up next is the weather update. From mine, the team here at Eswatini TV. Thank you for watching. Good night.